guys. So this is a month full of frugal foods. Some that I've made from scratch, and some are pre-made foods that I purchased from the store. So this is just a quick preview of some of the foods that I've made. So I've got some hummus, and I've also made some soups. I also made some flatbread. And sometimes I just get really lazy and buy some pre-made food from the store and try to jazz it up a little bit with some toppings that I enjoy. So let's get into September's foods. So I always do some roasted vegetables. This is part of my food prep for the work week. My work week just goes a lot easier when I have a bunch of vegetables on hand. So what I do is I chop up some veggies and then put it in a pan with some olive oil and some salt and pepper just to give it a little bit of spice. And this way I have some veggies that are just ready to go when I'm ready to start packing up my food for the morning. So this is another batch of some roasted vegetables. This is kale and mushrooms. Got some green peppers in there and some onions. I'm a big fan of the onions. Onions roast really well in the oven. And if you're a fan of the greens, kale works really good for roasting. It comes out a little bit crunchy, and I do enjoy that variation in the texture. So this is some of my work breakfasts and lunches. My work day is 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I always bring some food for breakfast and also lunch. So breakfast is usually me snacking at my desk at 6 a.m. And then I get an hour for lunch. So I found that for breakfast, breads work really good. It's just something dry and not too messy that I can eat at my desk. And lately, lunches are usually rice and probably some beans and some veggies. So this is some couscous, and I've got some beans, some of those roasted vegetables that I make. So for a little bit of variety, I've got some tortillas and hummus and some kale. And a banana and an apple. And I've got some raisin walnut bread. And I found that thermos containers work really well for packing up some rice and veggies and even soups. So they're airtight containers, and I just put them in my backpack, and they do not leak. So that's a little tip if you're somebody who's just starting to do some food prep and bringing your food to work. Do invest in some good airtight containers. I think those cost about $15 each. A little spendy, but definitely worth the money because they have never leaked in my backpack. So these are some dinners. This is some frozen pizza that I purchased at the store. And then I added in some onions and olives, tomatoes, mushrooms. And this is some flatbread. And this is a can of sardines with some crackers and an orange. And this is another meal full of sardines. And I'm using some flatbread instead of crackers, and I've got some corn. And this is some ramen noodle soup. Sometimes I just do not want to cook at all, so ramen is really good. Sometimes I put a spoonful of peanut butter in there, just for a little bit of a different flavor. And this is some rice and wheat berries and tomatoes. The wheat berries have a little bit of a different texture than the rice, so it's kind of a like nice little variation. I always want to make sure I've got grains in my diet, but wheat berries are just a nice variation, and instead of always just having rice. And I've added in some olive oil and some garlic and some pepper. And for veggies, I threw in some grape tomatoes. So this is some flatbread that I made, and I topped it with some hummus and tomatoes and kale and some cheese. So this is some tomato and seaweed pasta. I'm using some angel hair pasta and some seaweed snacks and some tomatoes. So I was trying to save money, and I was looking in my pantry and seeing what I just had on hand, and what I had was some pasta and some seaweed. So that was how this recipe got started for me, just trying to save a little money. Sometimes just shopping in your pantry or fridge is usually the answer. So pasta just cooks up really easily on the stove. You just have to make sure you stir it around a bit while it's cooking. And here are the tomatoes. So I put in the tomatoes first, just to be sure that those got a little more cooked than the seaweed. So the seaweed just cooks up so quickly. So definitely put that in at the end. And it was just a really, really fun combination of flavors there. And this is some Lebanese chickpea stew. So I've got parsley and some roasted red peppers. And it just looks really beautiful, and it tastes great too. But I loved all of those colors. It seems like a fall kind of, or an autumn kind of stew. And this is oven roasted chickpeas and broccoli. So these are the chickpeas and some broccoli that I'm just roasting in the oven. And here's after they're all roasted. And when you're roasting chickpeas, you can roast them as long as you want. If you want them to be crunchy or soft, I prefer them a little bit on the softer side. And I'm pairing them with some rice. I'm a big fan of rice. Rice is cheap and just so easy to add into just about anything. So here's the rice and the chickpeas and the broccoli. So this is some spice cake with raisins and walnuts. And most of my baking goes into some cast iron pans. And this is some hummus that I recently made. This is oil-free hummus. And I added in some fresh parsley just for a little bit of color. And this is some raisin cake. This is a little bit different than the other cake that I made earlier. The other cake was a spice cake from a mix, and this is something that I made from scratch. And I've also got some walnuts in this cake too. And for baking, I put the cake in a couple of cast iron pans. And this cake just looks so good after I got it out of the oven. Really beautiful colors of golden brown. So this is a month full of frugal foods. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.